and welcome to this new video for my channel, The Mental Traveler. I'm Carolera and today I'm going to be reviewing a book called The King's Grave, The Discovery of Richard III's Lost Burial Place and the Clues It Holds. It was written by Philippa Langsley and Michael K. Jones and it was published in 2003. Before I begin though, let me just say that if you don't know that much about Richard III, this may have some spoilers. And also, if you're wondering where my usual bookshelves background is, well, I'm living abroad at the moment, so for a while you're gonna see me with this wall in the back, so yeah, anyways. Many people think of Shakespeare's famous Richard III play when they hear this name, but I've never read it or seen it. So although I knew he was one of the Bard's most famous villains, I wasn't interested in finding out more about him. But then some years ago I saw the movie Anonymous, and was intrigued by this historical character called Robert Cecil. And in other videos I have stated why I link him to Richard III, but it wasn't until December 2016, when I saw the show The White Queen, that everything changed. I really liked that show, but what I most enjoyed about it was their portrayal of Richard III. Even though now I think it's quite historically inaccurate in some things, I really enjoyed it at the time. And so I set out to discover as much as I could about this English monarch, because even though I am an Anglophile and a history lover, I am afraid that before The White Queen I wasn't as aware of the War of the Roses as I should have been. Anyways, my search quickly led me to discover my now 6th favorite novel of all times, The Sunne and Splendour. Then I read a book called The Daughter of Time, and as I learned more and more about this historical figure of the House of York, I became a proud Ricardian, which means I am a supporter of Richard III and of his cause. And my love for him led me to discover as well how Tudor propaganda, mostly led by Shakespeare, has led people through the ages to have this misconception about him. And happily, I'm not the only one who thought this. For example, one of the authors for the book is Philippa Langley, and her admiration for Richard led her to discover, with the help of many, his lost remains in quite an extraordinary way. This really is a see-to-believe tale, and this quest is shown in a documentary that's on YouTube called The King in the Parking Lot. I've seen it several times because it's so good. I get goosebumps and I get excited and I cry and everything. And this book is based on the documentary. So yeah, as the book states at one point, its purpose is to show how it was like to find the physical remains of Richard III, as well as exploring his historical reputation throughout the centuries. And it's divided into two parts in a way. One is written by Langley and tells us the whole process of finding Richard, while the other part, the one written by Jones, gives us a brief biography of this Plantagenet king and how his memory was remembered, how the Tudors helped in creating this false idea of him being this evil hunchback monster. I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars review because even though it's simply written, I just love how you can tell that the people behind it loved Richard. And so if you're a Ricardian or a history lover or like archaeology, then I recommend you to read this. I did find some bits a bit harsh to get through though. For example, all about how Tudors and Shakespeare were so eager to tarnish Richard's memory and legacy, simply because I'm not interested in reading the play because it's full of lies. And so learning stuff about it, it's quite painful. And I know I may be overreacting here because I do love reading English classics, so I should be able to separate the real Richard III from Shakespeare's villain, and hopefully I will one day, but at the moment it's too sore a subject. Still, I do recommend you to watch that documentary that goes hand in hand with this book, because it's one thing to read it and find out all of these details about it, but I think it's just amazing to actually see how it is like when they discover Richard and the whole reconstruction of his face and taking his DNA and seeing him and all of that. But yes, for the moment I believe this is all I have to say about this book. Thank you very much for watching my review of it. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you did or didn't and what you think about Richard III, because I would love to talk about him with you. In the description box below you can find a link to the Goodreads page for the book, as well as a link to the TV documentary so that you can see it for yourselves how Richard III's remains were discovered. But you can also find links to my reviews for The Sunne and Splendour, The Daughter of Time, The White Queen, and The White Princess, all of which helped in making me a Ricardian. But yes, I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I'm Carolera, the Mental Traveler, and I'll be seeing you soon. Goodbye!